I'm Joe, and if you're new here, back in 2023, I bought a narrowboat, named it Lydia, and started renovating it into my very first home.
Yeah,
Arms cannon, that's great.
it's not exactly surgical.
The problem with these trousers is they have too many pockets.
When I had to get a new job, I embarked on an incredible voyage, travelling 90 miles north up the Trent and Mersey Canal to Cheshire.
Everybody cross your fingers.
After I got there and settled into my new home, it was time to pick up the renovations where we left them off.
It is once again DIY time.
I got the power.
Welcome back to the Voyage of Lydia. Today's video is a bit different. It's not a cruising video, it's not a DIY video, so you might ask, what is it? Well, you probably are asking, what is it, if it's not one of those two. Well, as you probably know by now, as you found out over the course of watching these videos, I am a bit of a nerd when it comes to boats and boating. So before I get to the sort of the nugget of what today's video is about, I do want to give you a quick overview, perhaps for the unfamiliar or the uninitiated, of the canal system in the UK and a little bit about its history. So the canal system in the UK came into being around about the 1700s, early 1800s, in order to move cargo around the UK, things like coal, pottery, grain, goods of that sort. And to power these boats, initially they were pulled along the towpath by horses.
And if we could only find the time to stop and watch him, he could teach us, in his quiet and uncomplaining way, many lessons. He can show us the dignity of doing even humble, humdrum tasks with patience and loyalty. And who's to say his way isn't best? He may take longer about it, but he gets it done just as surely. Friendship he rewards with faithful service. His wages are a pat on the nose and a bag of hay.
When diesel engines came into being, these boats were converted to run on diesel engines. But these working boats were really a staple of the UK canal system, especially around places like Birmingham. And they were sort of part of the scenery, and the people who worked these boats were incredibly proud of their industry and the jobs that they did, and they did provide a very valuable service. The boat I went to see a few days ago is a replica of a historic narrowboat called Roach, a coal boat that delivered coal, that still delivers coal, I believe, up and down the UK canals. It came into the marina a few days ago to be pulled out of the water for blacking, and I had the absolute pleasure of chatting to her owners, Dave and Lisa, as the boat was being pulled out, and obviously we were talking about boats and boating, and they invited me over to come and have a look. So I took my camera with me, and here's what I saw. The hard standing at Aqueduct Marina is home to a number of interesting watercraft, broken boats and old working vessels. However, nestled amongst these dusty, broken down wrecks is a very unique narrowboat.
Well, we built it in, what year did we have it built?
5 years ago.
5 years
5
ago.
years.
Made by the wonderful David and Ian Kemp in Wordsley.
Yeah, Dadford's Wharf.
Dadford's Wharf in Wordsley. Amazing place. So they built the shell, and then Dave did the rest. Or we did the rest.
So you did all the sort of fit out and everything?
Yeah, I've done the fit out, the engines, the electrics, the plumbing, everything.
Was it quite a big challenge when you took it on?
No.
Right.
I've built a few boats. This is number 7.
7.
Or fitted out 7 boats. So each have been a bit different, and this is obviously the best one that I've done. And I've been this is the pinnacle for me of my boat building.
So you've been boat building for 25 years, haven't
Yeah.
you? How did you get started in that?
I sold up a haulage business and I was starting a new career as a paramedic, and I had a little bit of money, and I thought I wanted a holiday home, so I looked at lots of different options, and I thought, I know, I'll buy a narrowboat. And that was the start of so I bought one that somebody had fitted out but made a very poor job of it. But the shell was new. Built it, kept it a couple of years, sold it on, and built more and built more and built more.
Repeated the process
Yeah.
from there. Brilliant. So how did you get involved with it, Lisa?
Helping with the design, picking the colours, painting. I was the labourer one time. Fetch me, carry me, do me. It's hard to remember now, but there was a time when all this wood was in a pile over there, and we slept on the top of it because there was nowhere else. Do you remember?
Yeah.
On an airbed on the top of a big pile of wood over there. I'm sorry for the yawning. We've been up since the crack of dawn this morning, blacking, which is why we're looking our glorious best. But we're shattered. But it's a job that has to be done, so that's what we're doing at the moment. That's why we're here, and now we've come to meet Joe.
So a lot of people come into narrowboating for so many different reasons. So what does, and they all have sort of different experiences of it, what is narrowboating to you? I know that might be sort of a big question.
For me, it was the bit where we would have really, really stressful jobs. And we'd come home from work at night, and you can't be stressed on a boat when it's moving along at 4 miles an hour. You have to physically and relax. And it's that bit of solitude, as well as being part of a boating community, because we see the same sort of people up and down the canals. Everybody's really friendly, everybody is willing to help you, but actually having a basic life as well. I mean, I say that at the time when we moved on, we did have 2 lockups because we had so much stuff, but actually to live a very simple life is really, really therapeutic. Just to sit and be out, you're outdoors, England's your garden, and it's just relaxing, and we love it, don't we? And we forget how much we love it when we're at home, and then we come back on the boat and it's like, oh, I don't want to go home, I'm quite happy to stay here.
What makes this boat unique?
It's unique because I fitted it. It's unique because there's probably only 2 people in the UK who could have built it as a shell. And it's unique because it's a copy of a traditional working boat called Roach, which still delivers coal now. It's unique because it's a Joshua bow, proper Joshua bow. A lot of people try and copy it, but it's very difficult.
So what is, for maybe for the ladies and gentlemen out there who are unfamiliar with what a Joshua bow is and maybe why it's different, do you want to just
so
explain a little bit about
Joshua was a guy who developed a style of a shape of a bow that enabled the horses to pull boats much faster over a period of taking considerable amounts of time off journeys from Birmingham to Ellesmere Port, for instance. And the bow makes the boat go through the water very well. There's actually, if you want to have a look at it, there's a Joshua bow on the British Waterways boat.
next door, isn't it?
A couple away.
Thanks, Ted.
And you'll see how alike this is to that one. There were a couple of factories that were making Joshuas originally, and they are all a little bit different. But the main theme is they're all consistent of what they were trying to do.
The more streamlined way of getting through the water.
Yeah.
Right. Smashing.
And this does go very well through the water, doesn't it?
It does.
So I think on your way up you said you were doing, what was it, 5 knots?
No, 5
miles
mile an hour with no wake.
No wake at all.
Yeah.
The canal needs to be deep enough.
Yeah.
If on rivers it's very, very fast, but if I wouldn't go that fast if if I was making a wake, but there was no wake at all. It's just glides through the water.
With my very unprepared interview over, Dave offered to take me on a detailed tour of his pride and joy.
So this is my slant on a boat. This is Epping stove that the boatman would have used. So you can cook on this oven in there. This is the only bit of the boat that isn't finished. It will have a drop-down table and a cupboard there, as per what the boatman would have done. The rest of the bedroom obviously is scumbled, as the old boatman would have done again, and raised floor to allow for the prop shafts to come through from the engine.
Lovely. Could you tell me a little bit about what scumbling is?
Scumbling is the boatmen couldn't afford expensive woods like oak, etc. So they developed a way of painting the grain on the wood and varnishing it to make it look like expensive wood. These are traditional boat working controls. Unlike modern boats have a more so lever that just goes backwards and forwards. These have a speed wheel, which increases and decreases the revs, and that's a gear lever that pulls backwards and forwards to change gear. So they're just very traditional controls done on rods and levers.
And there's Pops. Oh, sorry, Pops.
Pops.
We soon moved on to the beating heart of Dave and Lisa's boat, whereupon Dave and myself proceeded to nerd out over the beautiful, pristine and gleaming Gardner 3LW diesel engine.
So this is our engine. It's the Gardner 3LW. It's 5.7 litre, and pistons are absolutely huge, about so big. Slow revving, and it's our power horse. It is, however, linked to a modern gearbox, which works a lot better than the originals. So we've linked it to a hydraulic gearbox. These are the controls that come through from the back. So that works through a lever system to increase the revs, and that's the gear lever. So it all works on traditional controls. It's a very slow revving engine. I'll start it up for you.
Fantastic.
It came out of a tug up north in Gruel Harbour, a wooden tug boat. Wow. So these come in 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 cylinder engines. So it's not identical engine, comes in different formats.
2 or 4 more cylinders.
So they do a 2-cylinder one, and they put 2 lots of 2 cylinders to make the 4. And then they make 3-cylinder ones, and that's how they make the 6-cylinder. And then they do one which is a 5-cylinder, so it's got a 2-cylinder and a 3-cylinder. And every format of that, obviously made in Manchester. This engine's about 1940. Because of the age of the engine, the water pump, this is the water pump that pumps the water around the engine. And that has leather seals in, so they don't seal too well. So we do leak a little bit of water that I transfer from a tub out there back into the header tank, which is quite interesting. And then you have to, because the diesel tanks are either side of the engine, we have to vent the diesel pipe, the diesel tanks through the roof of the boat, because obviously most narrowboat tanks are outside. So and they're vented outside, so it just works the same. Do you
want to tell us about the clever diesel filter?
We have a clever diesel filter that takes the water out of the filter, out of the diesel that passes through it, therefore stopping any diesel bug. And when we come to change oil, this is our pump. So we undo that, we pump this up and down and pump the oil out. This engine holds 3.5 gallons of oil, and we change it every probably 200 hours of use, because it's got a bypass oil filter system on it, so not all the oil goes through the oil filter. And obviously we use genuine gardener
It even
parts.
says genuine parts on there.
And a genuine
Oh my god.
Gardner engine manual.
Same age as the engine.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a proper piece of history right there. God.
This is our slant on the bathroom. Normal shower, same as a house shower, normal size, normal sink. This sink just exhausts water straight into the canal. The shower, because of the height of the water, and we have to have the outlets way above the canal water. Water's pumped through a pump there, which pumps your shower out. Cassette type toilet. We use the one with the ceramic bowl because it just lasts a bit longer. Many different types of toilet on a narrowboat, as I'm sure.
There's that massive toilet topic.
There's a massive toilet topic. We
always
won't
ends
go
up
there.
going back to toilets.
We won't go down the toilet, but I like cassette toilets because they're easily empty, even when you're frozen in. So when you've lived aboard and you've had a tank that's full, it's not the right thing to go.
It's not nice.
Well, that's the toilet debate.
That's the toilet debate. Quick squeeze for the toilet
don't
debate.
talk about the toilet debate. This is our Galley washing machine. We are solar efficient, so from March till October we can run 100% on solar. Other than that, we've got a little Jenny that we use just to support in the worst of the winter months if we're living aboard. But as long as we use the washing machine in the morning, the batteries will be charged up with the solar. So we do have modern things like microwaves.
That's cheating. That's got to be cheating.
That's cheating. And there is no gas on this narrowboat at all. We use, we call it an Arga. It's not an Arga, it's a Sandyford cooker. And it's a double ovened, smooth these off, double oven, cooking oven, simmering oven, and this it also runs the central heating. So you've got a cooking plate, simmering plate, it'll run the central heating, hot water, on a programme just like a house, runs off diesel.
So you've got your smart meter to control that one, haven't you?
Smart meter control. So we don't tend to use it too much for heating or hot water, but we obviously use it for cooking and also keeping the boat warm.
Keeping it all warm in the winter. Lovely.
Keeping us all warm.
So I'm just going to pan up to this skylight here because this is, I think, apart from the engine, it's my favourite thing on the boat.
Oh, the light it allows in.
Gorgeous, absolutely
so
gorgeous.
These just open.
Oh, smashing. That's what you want. Something to let the light in.
This is our living area. Dinette converts into a double bed with the said table. So we have it as an occasional bed for guests, and it's got multi-use.
And when it's really, really, really cold.
Yeah, so when I'm staying on the boat in the winter and it's really cold, we just use that stove, keep that stove going, and we use this bed because it makes sense, and we just shut the back of the boat
Makes
off.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
What kind of is it? It's a hard fuel stove, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
multi-fuel.
Multi-fuel stove.
Wood, coal. that actually is an Arga one. That was a barn find.
Whereabouts was it? Barn finder?
So we found it in Shropshire. They fitted it into a stately home. Never used it. I saw it on eBay, and I paid £100 for it because it was all rusty on the outside. And the inside, a photograph of the inside, it had been lit once. It wasn't big enough for the room they put it in, and they just put it in the barn. So I cleaned it up, and it's like perfect. It was brand new.
Mint. That's fabulous, that. Interior tour completed. Dave took me outside and showed me some of the intricacies of his boat.
So this is a Francis Searchlight that I noticed on eBay for £40, and I knew what it was. It's come off a boat. It was painted grey, and then I took it home, bought it £40, stripped it off, and it's beautiful brass Francis Searchlight.
No, it's there. It's gorgeous. It's huge as well.
And I was offered.
Massive.
I've been offered £1,300 for it. But I'm not selling it.
Don't blame you.
Sign writing was done by a friend of mine called Dave Moore. He's a master craftsman of narrowboat painting. This is his signature. So this part of any narrowboat, of any sign writer, that will be different, and that is their signature.
That's
their
their
work.
sort of like maker's mark.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So they'll all have a different, that will be different for each sign writer.
Wow. I mean, it's gorgeous. Just the flare on it is beautiful.
He's a great,
I love these corner bits as well.
So he's a great guy.
Yeah.
But when you're discussing with him, when you're discussing how you want your sign writing, he says, Dave, he says, don't tell me nothing, I'll do it as I think best, otherwise I'll go home.
Fair enough, he's the sign writer, he knows what he's doing.
So he chooses the colours, he chooses, otherwise he won't do it.
After a lovely afternoon looking around one of the most unique boats I've seen, it was time to head back to Lydia and crack on with my own renovations. Thank you very much for allowing me to have a look around and taking me on the little tour.
You're very welcome.
And thank you to Lisa as well for making me a cup of tea.
You're very welcome, Joe.
I got the power.
That thing, what he said. Next time on the Voyage of Lydia. After 7 months with no liners on my portholes, the time finally comes to put some new ones on.
Oh, bollocks.
As well as all that, Dad and me finally make a start on the last big job in the saloon. Dad! Thank you so much for watching, folks. See you next time.